Hi everybody, I'm Dan, and I write horror, science fiction, and fantasy, and I talk about games on the internet. Today I'm going to be talking about the John Carter RPG, specifically the GM kit created for it. I reviewed the core book a while ago, and there's a link to that somewhere at the end of this video. You can check that out. But it has a fantastic GM kit as well that very similar to, say, the Conan GM kit by the same company, Modifius, includes a GM screen and a little booklet full of handy information. We're going to talk a little bit about what both of those things do. First of all, the GM screen. This is just a wonderful thing, assuming I can fold it open. So you can see it's enormous, okay? And it's, oriented like a normal thing. It's not the giant outsized thing that the Star Trek GM screen is. Just a very normal book-shaped screen that folds out into this big four-fold deal. Really great art on it, maps of the world on the ends. And inside, it has a lot of the standard things that you would expect from a Modifius 2D20 GM screen. It's got what you can spend momentum on, what you can spend luck points on, different things like that that are very valuable. It's got the basic things of what the dice do, so that if you don't have, for example, the effect dice, these are my Thark effect dice. If you don't have one of these, and you just have to use a normal d6, well, it's got a conversion table for all of that. It's got, the handy things of difficulty and how much damage you take from falling off of stuff and some flyer rules, and it's all got really great stuff. On top of that, because John Carter is a setting that not a lot of people are super familiar with, it has got a neat little kind of almost a full page of this is built out of giving you world information. So, for example, there's a little sidebar on Barsoomian distances. Let's show you that. Right there. Distances. Right next to that, it's got a description of titles. So if somebody says that they are a Jadara and you have no idea what a Jadara is, well, you can look it up on this. Or rather, you as the GM can use those to tell your players what a Jadara is when they don't know what it is. One of the things that I really love about this in particular is, and it's just a minor sidebar in there, but it talks about the 6 attributes. Now, if you have seen my other video, or if you've played John Carter, you know that this game does not include skills. It does not include like any of the kind of standard stuff that a game has. What it has is everyone has 6 attributes, which are cunning, daring, empathy, might, passion, and reason. And then every roll you make is a combination of those 2. So if you want to sword fight, if you want to pilot a vehicle, if you want to tame an animal, if you want to jump over a pit, anything you do is just a combination of those 2 attributes. And then you'll have some talents and stuff that might make you better at certain ones. And so that makes it very difficult, because if you want to do, it makes it difficult to know which ones to use. It actually, in play, makes it very easy because everything is super simple. The abstraction is the whole point. What I mean by difficult is that, say that you go up to, you're exploring a dungeon and you find some weird scientific device and you want to figure out how to turn it off. Which ones does that work with? Maybe cunning and reason? Do you need both cunning and reason? What if you want to try to do it daringly? Like, is the fact that it's dangerous mean that you use daring and reason to figure out how to turn it off? Or if you just really love science, does that mean that you can use passion to try to turn it off? There's a lot of different interpretations. And one of the things I love about this GM screen is that it includes on the screen descriptions of what those attributes are and what kinds of things you should use them for. A lot of the final decision, of course, is still up to you as the game master and to the player to decide, well, this makes the most sense and this is how I'm going to go about it. But it's a really neat thing. So hooray for GM screens. If you like them, John Carter has a fantastic one. Much more information is contained in this little booklet. Now, just like the core book itself, this is designed in kind of landscape format instead of portrait. So, and I like that feature of it. It's a neat little thing that John Carter does. It doesn't really add or detract from the book in any way, except that it has 3 columns instead of 2, and they're shorter. What this book includes, aside from some kind of very basic role-playing world info about the world of Barsoom and John Carter, is it has 3 main things. It has an adventure generator, which is what we're going to get to last because it's awesome. It has some adventure hooks, some kind of character-based hooks that are really handy. And then it has some new information. And I'm going to go through all of those in reverse order. So we're going to start with the new information thing. The final chapter, so to speak, of this little booklet gives new information on how travel works and how mass combat works. So if you want to do like a giant battle and you weren't sure how to do a giant battle within the rule set, this has got all the rules for it, including some kind of sample armies that you can go up against and ways to handle it. And it's not a very long section, but it's a really simple, succinct section that gets the job done. Similar to that, there is a traveling section. How long does it take to get somewhere? How difficult is it to get somewhere? The GM kit includes, like I said, the Barsoomian distance calculator so that you know what their word for a kilometer is and how long it is and things like that. One of the things I love about this, because the game is so abstracted, because the game is trying so hard to make things very simple and very fast and very easy, the travel section doesn't really care how far things are and how long it takes to get there. And one of the things that I love about it is, I'm just going to read this to you. It says, the exact length of a journey in John Carter of Mars is much less important than whether or not characters arrive in time for other events. Characters traveling arrive at one of 4 dramatically important points: early, on time, late, or too late. And really, that's what all of these travel rules focus on, so that you have some specific skills that you can roll. Which attributes are you going to use? How does travel affect those? How hard is it? What kinds of encounters are you going to run into while you travel? But at the end of the day, when you actually make the roll and say, well, do I get there on time? That's what it cares about. Did you get there on time, or are you late? Are you early? Are you too late? Does it take 2 days? Does it take 2.5 days? That's beside the point. What matters is that you get there on time, and it's a neat system. Now, let's talk about the character hooks. They call these adventure hooks, and I think that this is a really smart decision to include this in the John Carter GM kit, because, as I said, not everybody is especially familiar with this setting. And even if you are, even if you, like me, have read all of the books maybe a while ago, you don't necessarily know exactly how to tell a story set in that world. And so what this does is it goes through every one of the major races and cultures, and then it goes through every one of the major archetypes and gives 2 adventure hooks for each one. So let's say you want to play as one of the Tharks, the green Martians. Well, there are 2 different adventure hooks that you can use for that player who's playing a Thark, so that you can come up with a story around them. And that has those for the Okar, which are the yellow people that live in ice, and it has it for the red Martians, and it has it for all the people, it has it for Earthborn, it has it for everybody. And then you get into the archetypes themselves. Is one of your characters a Beastmaster? Well, here's 2 ideas of what kinds of stories a Beastmaster could get involved with. And so these are a really great way of kind of showing in practice what your characters can do. So let me give you an example. There was a science one that I really liked. One of the core archetypes, which is kind of what this game's version of a character class is called an archetype. There's one called a scientist. because in the original Barsoom books by Edgar Rice Burroughs, science was a big deal. It's a very kind of rationalist view of the world. And so one of these little hooks here in the adventure section says, a strange broken device is found in the remains of a centuries-old flyer crash. When repaired, it generates a strange energy which augments the intelligence of nearby beasts, but also twists their nature. The resulting creatures possess a human-level intellect, but personalities akin to psychopaths, cunning and bloodthirsty. The device seems to have no immediate effect on people, though who knows what it could do if it were further modified. What can the heroes do with such a device? How will they handle the threats it creates? Even if they seek to destroy it, will others allow this power, or will others allow this once its powers are known? So there's actually a lot of intriguing stuff in there, a lot of different directions that one adventure hook could be spun off into. And so as a neat way to come up with cool things for your characters to do, this GM kit offers a lot. You've got a party with 4 players in it, and they each have a race, and they each have an archetype. Well, that's like 16 different adventure ideas right there that relate directly to your players. And it's something that not every game needs. You wouldn't necessarily need it for Conan, for example, or something like that, because we kind of know what a Conan story looks like. Not everybody knows what a John Carter of Mars or a Barsoom story looks like, so it's a really great system. Anyway, let's end with our longest section, which is we're going to talk about the adventure generator. And just like I did with Conan, I am going to run through this adventure generator and build an adventure right here for you. And I'm not going to bother writing it out like I did on the other one. I just want to very quickly kind of go through this and show you what it looks like and how it can be used. So it looks like this, adventure generator, and it has all of these little tables on it. You can barely see me and the thing. And so it starts with a title. And I love that about these. Just like the Conan one, the John Carter one has a title, and that helps give it right up front a really pulpy feeling. And so everything's done with a D20. So here we have my Thark D20s. We're going to roll, and it says the title structure is Character Archetype of Location. So character type 7, which is a character archetype, an assassin, pirate, etc. And we roll on the archetype table. We get a 20, which is a race or species of people. Green Martians, red Martians, etc. I'm using Thark dice, so we're going to use Tharks. Okay, so we have Thark. Character type. Oh man, we need a character and an archetype. Here we go. So we have, next is 11, pirate. The Thark pirate of location. And our location is another planet or a moon. Interesting. It suggests Venus, Earth, Titan, Jupiter, etc. One of the very final, in fact, I think the very final Barsoom book that Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote was The Skeleton Men of Jupiter. And so let's do the Thark pirate of, I don't know, Jupiter? One of the Martian moons, Deimos or something? The Thark pirate of Deimos. That's what we're going to do. Okay? So then we skip ahead to the adventure generator. Where do we begin? Roll on that table and it says 3. At a major political event, a state funeral, treaty negotiation, a royal wedding, etc. How about a treaty negotiation, perhaps between the planet of Barsoom and the moon of Deimos? Call to adventure. We begin somewhere, and then the table is literally called When Suddenly, and we rolled a 12 on it, so it says narrator character is being kidnapped by raiders or enemy soldiers. It sounds appropriate for a pirate story. Narrator character table tells us that 19, it's 2 characters being kidnapped. One of them is an airship pirate, and one of them is a hunter or a scout. Let's say that it is a hunter and a pilot, okay? And they are going to be the Thark hunter and a red Martian pilot. And they are here as part of this treaty negotiation. In fact, it's not a treaty between Mars and Deimos. It's between the red Martians and the green Martians. And one member of each group gets kidnapped by somebody, raiders of some kind. Maybe from Deimos. We'll find out. So, what happens next? The plot is revealed. Roll 5. Kidnap an important character. Oh, so what? So someone got kidnapped and now we have to kidnap them back. Oh, there's a purpose table as well. 3. For political gain. Okay. So, there is a plot to kidnap an important character for political gain. And they started by kidnapping one person of each. But that's apparently not their end goal. They're trying to kidnap somebody much more important. And that is exciting. It says the antagonist. How many antagonists are there? 11. 11 is the roll, not the number. 2 equally capable antagonists in an uneasy alliance. That is exciting to me. So we're going to roll 2 dice on the antagonist type table, and it gives us a 2 and an 8. We have a Jed or a Jedak, which is like a political leader among the red Martians, and then an influential noble. Okay, we're going to make these the people from Deimos. There is a political leader and a noble who's kind of a royal leader without a lot of political power. They are in an uneasy alliance. They don't necessarily like each other. There's an antagonist's nature table, so we're going to roll once for each on those. Our Jedak is 2, vile, evil, corrupt, and truly despicable, neither seeking nor capable of redemption. And the other one, the noble, is cruel and ruthless, but possessing some honor or good qualities, who will not turn from a path, but will respond to reason. So maybe that's why there's an uneasy alliance. They're both pretty dark, shady characters, but the noble knows that he or she can be convinced to do the right thing. If the right thing is ever properly explained. How do they do this? There's a table for that. 7. Hiring mercenaries, assassins, and other dangerous experts to get the job done. Well, that makes this easy. This is a rival group. This is going to be like a different group of red Martians is attacking this first group, and they're trying to kidnap somebody very important. And they have hired these raiders, these pirates from Deimos, the Thark pirates of Deimos, to do it for them. Now, what goes wrong? 2. One or more characters are falsely accused of crimes or corrupt acts by the locals. So the characters are there as a part of this treaty negotiation when suddenly Deimos pirates swoop in, kidnap someone from each side. Everyone's going crazy. Nobody knows that these other people are behind it who want to destroy this treaty for unknown reasons. And in the middle of that, our characters get accused, and everyone thinks that they're the ones who did it. And so then the adventure is they have to go and clear their name. They have to escape. They have to prove themselves innocent, and that is going to mean tracking down these raiders and ultimately tracking down and exposing the Jedak and the noble who are behind this whole thing in the first place. So that's a lot of neat stuff, and that's a great place to start an adventure. One thing this little adventure generator also includes is a narrator character generator. And we'll go ahead and use that right now really quick because it will be an easy way to kind of flesh out, for example, the actual Thark pirate of Deimos that we haven't figured out yet. So, roll this one. 18. Valiant. High passion and might. Low cunning. So it's a valiant Thark. High passion, high might. What kind of archetype do they follow? 13. It's an expert. Someone who's very good at something. Make them maybe a musician. They're a pirate, obviously, but also an expert in some skill. Ooh, how about a game player? One of the options here is a Jetan player, which is kind of like Martian chess. So this Thark is into that. Now, what are their peculiarities? 10 says consult peculiarity table B, which gives us 2. Holds heretical beliefs, which might be why this particular Thark has fled Thark society and become a pirate who works with Deimos instead of with Barsoom. So that gives us, it's not much, but it is enough to hang that character on. And now suddenly, instead of just being a random Thark that's out there, terrorizing the whatever, it is a person who is a really good game player, who has, heretical beliefs and left or was thrown out of Thark society. There's a lot of interesting new options, and in just a couple of minutes, we got a fantastic hook for an adventure that our characters can go through. So the John Carter Narrator's Toolkit is wonderful. I love this game. I love the 2D20 system, and I'm excited to get a chance to use this adventure generator and run some characters through it. And I hope that you have a chance to do the same. So thank you for watching this review. I will see you on the next one.